Okay, anything you want to share?
So Saturday being at Elitch Gardens, there's being around kind of a slice of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of thoughts came up, and there's just this gentle shift in how I'm perceiving, just by catching myself in my thoughts. It's like, oh, my thoughts mean nothing. They're not what I think they mean
Yeah.
when judgment comes up, or even when they're good, because part of the diversity was lovely. Being in an amusement park.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of recognizing that in myself without kind of focusing on a certain lesson
Yeah.
that kind of combining where we are now, that I'm kind of just noticing how much judgment, and that I can just use the lesson that comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I think it means.
Yeah. I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's really nice. So what Lisa's saying is on Saturday she went to a an amusement park and all the people, all the diversity, the rides, the excitement, the noise, the music, everything. And what you're saying is rather than targeting a specific lesson, which we do sometimes, I think it's important to target the specific lesson, but then also just let the concept and the key line that I think you said is I caught myself.
Hmm.
We catch ourselves in these judgmental thoughts, good or bad, right or wrong, and then to just pull back a little bit. Whoa, wait a minute, that's a defense against my peace, and what I really want, the treasure beyond time and space, is that peace and the happiness that comes with it, and the guidance. That's one of the things that makes the course so unique. A lot of spiritual practices speak to the peace and happiness. That's the essence of it. But what really, the gift that really comes through too, is the guidance that leads us, points us happily through the dream. And we're very close to some lessons coming up here that speak to that very thing. So today, lesson number 17, I see no neutral things. Perfect progression of the previous lesson. The stream of thinking here is if I have no neutral thoughts, and my thoughts are images that I have made, then it follows that I see no neutral things. And it says this idea is another step in the direction of identifying cause and effect as it really operates in the world. You see no neutral things because you have no neutral thoughts. And I'll stop right there with those couple sentences. Today, you're going to begin lying on your back. Have the bolster can be crosswise, just like that. Keep it crosswise. And you're going to have your feet on the bolster, knees bent, feet on the bolster, and your head on the floor. There you go. So the bolster neither too close nor too far away. It should feel like an extension of your feet. It should feel very supportive. And then we'll see if you can interlock your fingers under your head. We don't take this shape for granted. If you can interlock your fingers under your head with your head not supported by the bolster or a pillow, then that's significant movement in the shoulder. We want to maintain that for a lifetime. If it's too demanding, then your arms are out toward a T shape. Now, bring the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. Observe the shape. We can apply every lesson to the shape and to this moment simply by watching the thoughts that come up as you approach the shape. Is there, is there a reaction or a gentle response to the feedback? We usually react according to a fear thought, and we gently respond from a thought of love. So in applying today's lesson to the shape, I see no neutral things. I, I cannot experience this shape neutrally or from a place of neutrality. I either experience the shape from a place of love or a place of fear. And that's the yoga, is to watch the thought that comes in response to each shape. Switch the interlock of your fingers. And now we're going to make the shape slightly active. Just going to press your feet into the bolster. Doesn't take much. A little press into the feet to move your belly and back, mostly your back, toward the floor. The knees may lift a little bit, so be it. Pressing the feet, feeling the corresponding sensation through the leg, through the knee, through the hip, low back, firms toward the floor. Throat is open, the chin is lifted a little bit, the breathing is easy through the nose. Now diminish the effort and see if you can let the shape be passive once again. Now, some of you, the passive quality won't be available yet. So don't push that, don't fight it. You can still be in the shape and hold the knees up. They may be shaking, there may be some spasming. That's just part of the work that we begin to move through. And if it's too strong or too weird or too demanding, then be finished with the work and have your feet flat on the bolster, knees together, and just wait. In fact, let's all do that now. Bring your knees up, feet flat on the bolster. And have a moment here with your feet hip width apart, just a little space between your knees and legs, and just feel the sensation now after having that shape. Release your hands. Bring your right knee toward the center of your chest. Interlock your fingers behind the thigh. That's it. Sink into the shape. A kind, sustainable approach to the here and now. I'm going to reread the opening lines. I see no neutral things. The idea is another step in the direction of identifying cause and effect as it really operates in the world. You see no neutral things because you have no neutral thoughts. It is always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. Okay, that's the answer to the very first line. This idea is a step in identifying cause and effect as it really operates. Our thinking, or the thought, precedes anything and everything in form. It says this is not the way the world thinks, but you must learn that it is the way you think. If it, we'll stop there. Lower your foot. Interlock your fingers behind the left thigh. Sink into the groin. Now the ego would come to the surface here and say, well, if my thoughts precede everything in form, I could see how my thought precedes my actions. But if my thought precedes everything in form, then why can't I manifest moment by moment everything that I want in my life? Why can't I manifest that new car? Why can't I manifest this relationship? And the answer is the world we perceive is a prayer of the heart. It's a worldly prayer of the heart. It's the desire for the and the decision against perfect love. And that's why we have to peel away the layers. And we start at the surface with perception and emotion, and we slowly work our way to the deepest prayer of the heart. Because the universe always responds to the prayer of the heart, which remains deeply hidden. Lower your foot to the bolster. And now cross the right leg in front of the left. So we have this Sukhasana shape. It'll be a little awkward. Keep your feet on the bolster, and yeah, some of you will have the heels close to the knees. Some of you, just the lower leg will be crossed, maybe just the ankles. Okay, so just feel the shape and how it impacts the whole leg, the knee, and the hip. Can you be passive here? And now open the arms out into that T shape or something close to it. And turn your head to the right. Passive through the legs, passive through the hips, passive in the arms and hands. Increase the turn of your neck and head to the right a little bit, and then rest heavy. Observe the shape. If I see no neutral things and I have no neutral thoughts, then my thoughts either come from a place of love or fear. The things I see in the world I experience is either moving me toward a place of fear and loneliness and separation, or it's equally perfect in showing me the way home, pointing me moment by moment toward love itself, lasting peace and joy. This is where all of our decision making power lies in the mind. And for far too long, we've been giving it away. Bring your head back to the center. Switch the cross of your legs. It's time to reclaim the true power of your decision-making ability. Slowly turn your head to the left. And how do we do that? But to watch ourselves give that power away. Watch ourselves slip into the realm of fear and loneliness and separation. Watch ourselves let the world dictate our degree of happiness and peace and choose against it. Smile at it. Oh, yeah, it got the best of me again. All right, that's why I have a practice. That's why I can be gentle with myself. I will not fail at this. I will not fail because, in truth, I've already exceeded. I've already succeeded. Okay, now bring your head back to the center. Bring your arms to your sides. Knees bent, feet on the bolster. And then roll onto one side and gently push yourself up. When you're ready, find a comfortable seat. Close your arms. Rest your hands and arms on your thighs or comfortably at your sides. This lesson, this lesson reminds me of the responsibility prayer. So in the text of A Course in Miracles, there are prayers that come through, and they're usually in italics, the same way they come into italics in the workbook. And the responsibility prayer is lovely. It goes like this: I am responsible for what I see. I choose the emotions that I experience and decide upon their goal. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. That brings us, it sort of cuts through and it takes us to the prayer of the heart. Bring your hands to your heart. Namaste.
Okay, I'm just thinking about today's lesson
Yeah.
and how it does seem the other way, like especially when things that I'm perceiving things as negative,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I'm actually calling this forth. Um,
Yeah.
that everything I see, I've there's been a thought that's preceded it. It's a difficult.
Hmm.
thing to kind of unwind. So I'm just kind of like,
On some level,
yeah.
remember, the ego has crushed the gap between form and the mind that makes it. In truth, it's one and the same. But with no gap between the mind and form, then it seems that we have no choice to totally identify with the body and with form. It's so hard, it's so factual, it's so certain. It's like a dream that we have at night where you wake up going, "My God, that was so real." Thank God it wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
So it's especially the negative things, and it could also be especially the positive things. That same dream, we could have a nightmare that we are so grateful to wake up from, but then we can have a juicy dream that we just like, oh man, I just want to stay asleep and finish that one. So the ego
Yeah.
doesn't care which one it is. We're constantly pulled toward more comfort, less pain, more comfort, less pain, and it just keeps spiraling into form. The other hook that can happen is if we begin to mistake, like, I called in this negative thing. If we get really literal about it, we could say, I called in that war. I called in that wildfire. I called in that thing. Our only responsibility is to accept the miracle, which is changing our perception of it. Because the ego will take that whole concept and turn it into guilt and blame and shame. Okay. So what we do is we gently take responsibility for our decision making power to see it from a place of love. And then it starts to, then that, then the little space starts to come between what seems to happen to me and the source of it all in mind. It's the idea of putting a little space into something that is, really just one. It's like being it's like being caught in a movie theater. You get so wrapped up in the movie, like, and then the emotions come up and feelings and memories come up because I'm watching this movie, and then I go, wait a minute, there's a projector back there. This is just made up, and it can, like, whew, okay, I don't have to be so engrossed in it. Helpful.